I'm about to chat to Mark Constantine, who is the founder of LUSH, an amazing concept, 900 stores, 49 countries. I can only begin, well, I can't even begin to imagine the nightmare of closing those stores down and now the prospect of opening them all back up. Mark joined us live for a podcast live, Conversations of Inspiration, Manchester Cathedral, and it was one of those unbelievably cherished moments that you can have in your career. He's such a nice guy. He's very open and honest, and he cares deeply about this community. And I really can't wait to see him again.
Hello, this is Mark Constantine. I'm the CEO and co-founder of LUSH, and I'm here in my shed talking on Instagram with Holly about well, small businesses, bigger businesses, the new normal, what the high street will be like, and taking baths at 4 in the afternoon.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I know you're a firm favourite of this community. And we spoke before, and I know you have a lot of empathy to small businesses. And so I'm really looking.
Yeah, especially at the moment, obviously. Yeah. I mean, I think the saddest thing about all of this is how many dreams it's dashing. Do you know what I mean? That's the saddest aspect. That I think dreams are so important. You know, I had a sad thing really right at the very beginning of coronavirus. The partner that I always had, she retired 2 or 3 years ago, and we worked together every month of her life apart from one, died of cancer. So I had the coronavirus and then her death within 3 days, within 4 days. But it made me reflect, because obviously then I was at home, about our dreams. Because when we first started, we were just like everyone that's watching this. We would go and do craft fairs. We had Constantine Wears Country Cosmetics, good for your skin and good for your hair. And when I really thought back to all those days, right at the very, very beginning, I mean, she set such high standards. Her name was Liz Bennett. I mean, just lovely. She set such high standards in all regards. And you know, obviously they then became the standards of LUSH. But when I thought back on it, I thought all of the things I remembered most about the two of us together were dreams. She was an obsessive beauty therapist and really keen on product. I was hair. If people fell asleep in front of us on the train, we would analyse their skin and hair while they were there. So everything about it was dreams. And that's why I feel so strongly and so sadly about, you know, the restaurateur whose dream, I mean, he's worked every bloody day for 6 years or 7 years. And now suddenly he's facing, you know, without any fault of his own, facing ruin. So, well, not ruin, but certainly a very difficult period of time. A slog. Yeah, if you'll excuse the expression, a shitty slog.
Yeah, a shitty slog after already what we know is a pretty hard industry to be in anyway, working every hour to make little money. And then all of this on top. Tell me, how have you found it? Before we go into business, and I'd love to chat to you about business, but how have you found this period of time personally, Mark?
Well, I think everyone's finding it the same, aren't they? There's some glorious bits. You know, there's obviously the sheer grind of it. One of the nicest things that I've been able to do, which I couldn't normally do when I'm at work, is every day at 4 p.m. I have a bath.
Oh.
Yes. And I
haven't heard this one before.
I can recommend this for all sorts of reasons, right? I've been reading lots of interesting books, and there's a marvellous book called Rest. Please look it up. I don't know the author. But basically, she had a big section in there on taking a bath and how the bath was good for rest because you were doing something, but actually you were doing nothing. But she also indicated how it dropped your blood pressure, cut down on heart attacks, cut down on strokes, and helped you sleep, even though you were doing it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But in addition, I'd also read another book that said the biggest mistakes we make are between 4 and 5. So I can't be making any mistakes because I'm in the bath.
Yeah, you're isolated in the bath. You've been caught in the bath.
And finally in the bath, and finally, I'm very prone to snacking between 4 and 5. You know, I can quite easily eat as much as I'm going to eat for my dinner between 4 and 5, but I can't eat it in the bath. So I've lost 4 kilos. So all in all, if I can recommend to all of your viewers, taking a bath at 4 p.m, just the job while you're indoors. Yeah.
God, well, okay, that's it. I'm a bath convert. I didn't have a bath for the first, well, obviously I washed, let's put it there, but you know, I never had a bath in 10 years. I had showers. And this year in January, I read something. I didn't know those benefits, but I needed to find a moment for myself. And I just couldn't. I wasn't very good at yoga. I wasn't very good at any of this stuff. And I just thought, you know what, just get some nice oils and get yourself in the bath. And I've had a bath every single night since January. And it's actually quite a transformative moment. If you're not very good at self-care, to actually stop, you know, and if you, Mark, like 100 miles an hour sometimes, you know, it is actually one of those things that makes you can't work. You're going to electrocute yourself, and you can't eat, and you can't do anything. You've got to, you know, my job is to try and stay in it more than 10 minutes, though. That's the only thing. So tell me, Mark, 900 stores worldwide, 49 countries. I honestly can't even get my head around the headache that must have occurred when you had the different timings, because we weren't all set on the same timings, unfortunately. That would have been much, I'm sure you would have wished for that. Tell me how the business has been and how the business has been coping in this time.
Well, at present, we have 446 of those shops are closed. Obviously, at one point, I mean, there was literally only 10% of the shops were open, Sweden and places like that. And, well, actually, what happened was I described the very beginning of it because my partner, you know, my ex-partner had retired. She died on the Tuesday. By the Friday, we were deep in it. What happened? I wasn't in a very good state, obviously, and one of the main finance directors sent me home. She said, "You go home, you sort yourself out there, and we will do what we do." What materialised, what slowly came out of the figures, was that the government was there to help us, and that we may make our way through, and that yes, because I've never run anything with no sales before. So I mean, you know, you get the sales in, you pay the wages. I mean, we knew we had enough to pay a couple of months' wages, but any good business does not run with a lot of spare cash.
No.
So, you know, yes. So the help from them has been terrific. And some landlords have been very helpful. Some landlords have been singularly unhelpful. But the help that's given obviously makes a difference. I'll give you an example of a good landlord. The railways, Network Rail. They immediately gave us a 3-month holiday from rent. Immediately. Within days, within 3 days or something like that. Now that is a godsend because you know where you are. And then what we did was we then got, because we have fresh products, you see, so they go out of date. So we then started to organise ourselves with charities for them to distribute all our product, especially in hospitals, hospices, old people's homes, all of that. So then, I mean, I can't remember how many tons of stuff we shipped out there. But that's been very lovely. I haven't been out many times, but one of the times I did go out, I was just coming back in and someone shouted at us, "Thank you so much for the hand cream." And I assumed it was one of the people from the hospital. So that's what's been going on. And then obviously we've had a lot of staff furloughed, and they're all wondering, you know, what the hell. But we open again next Monday in Britain. We will be open entirely by the 7th of July in the States and everywhere else.
And tell me about that sort of decision to open back up. Because, I mean, is it as daunting as shutting it down? Has it been something that you've had to persuade people to come back to work? Or do you feel that there's a energy now that people want to get back to whatever that new normal is?
Well, obviously it varies from person to person. I think all of us, every single one of us, wants a better new normal. when you've had time to think about it, you think, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want it to be that way. I think society as a whole is willing to go through quite a lot more change in order to deal with those big things. And I think that's what's burning in every one of us. Every single person that's watching this, us, we know we don't want to go back to the way it was, but determining what that new normal is for us, for each individual and for the companies. I mean, we have a managers meeting going on at present where they are debating at length all of these issues to decide how we wish to go back, how we want to change, how we want to take advantage of this to become a better something.
Gosh, yes. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I hadn't heard it put that way, but you're right. Actually, to think that what we have been willing to go through ultimately was to save lives. We've now had, we didn't ask for it, but we've had this sort of run at it, haven't we? What could we go through again that we could never have deemed imaginable before in order for climate change, in order for these things? And that's such a amazing, empowering point, actually, that I haven't heard communicated. I've got a couple of questions. Mina Lima Designs, do you think we need to rethink the retail experience?
Well, what's interesting is that as the large things like Facebook and Instagram and so on become much more like advertising mediums, so they're reducing, or they're charging for access. And I think that will slowly drive more and more internet businesses onto the high street. So, and I think with the collapse in rents, because there's a huge collapse in rents going on everywhere, so we will see substantial deals throughout, you know, whether it's in old Debenhams or, you know, House of Frasers or whatever it is. I think there will be a lot more space available for people to start retail businesses. And I also think that we'll see a lot more people, far more people using the internet as well. But then, of course, if the rents drop, and of course there's a rates holiday for the whole of the rest of time, I don't think they'll ever bring rates back.
Do you not? I was going to ask you that.
No, they won't. I can't see how they can, because everything has collapsed. You know, bear in mind that everyone was feeding off retail. You know, the landlords, the pensions, the insurance companies, the government, you know, with 20% VAT and rates and, you know, everything else. And they've had to accept, you know, they'll bring the VAT is probably going to come down in the next 6 months, not permanently, but for a period of time. Yeah. So we'll see all that effort to reinvigorate. And of course, each of us, big or small, have to be ready and flexible enough to take advantage of that.
So actually that's, you know what, Mark, it's fantastic to hear. And so many people are saying exactly the same thing. This is refreshing to hear this, because actually if rents are coming down and we think the business rates will continue to cease for the foreseeable future.
Well, we've got a year anyway. So
well, we've got a year, but you know what I mean? But if you're looking at the long term and what that is, you know, a lot of what we've been saying on this community is that the actual business model of actually just selling things within your shop really does need to change. And I've been encouraging people to come together with different small businesses, take a space together, deal with your online orders out the back and have a brand experience out the front. You know, this is what the future is. And we've got to feel that actually the worth of meeting people face to face is, you can't put it in a marketing line. You can't actually underestimate what that is. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Today, I got a parcel from Daunt Books. Okay, I had a voucher. Today it all arrived, wrapped in a brown paper parcel, each individual bundle of books wrapped internally as well with a Daunt's book sticker on it. It's just lovely. All of that stuff, that is absolutely the flavour of the month. That's so important. And whatever you do, try to keep that personal service, you know, however you grow or whatever you're doing, that those personal notes. We've been getting fish from the fish guy. Now, he doesn't normally deliver, but he's been delivering. He's going to carry on delivering. And the vegetable people are delivering, and they're going to carry on delivering. And obviously most people want to cut out the large entities like Tesco's in their lives, and they want that personal connection. And so that's where all of your community can score over and over and over again, as long as they just persevere and they keep providing. Going to Waitrose and getting frozen fish which I don't know where it's come from. I don't know if it's sustainable, or getting the local fish bloke to what he does is he sends a little a thing to us every week with all his fish laid out, and you can choose the fish. Then you phone him up and go, I have that one there, and that one there, and that one there.
Maybe let's not all rely on actually feet coming into your store. So your store might be open, but actually it's what you're going to do to complement that. So yes, people might be nervous, and yes, we might not see footfall, but actually in the same time, I think community, what Mark's also saying is, make sure all the other stuff is done, because you could be making up for that short of footfall in your shop tenfold by doing some of the things Mark's talking about.
You know, when we're talking about, please make sure, I think that this period of time when the landlords treated us all like, I don't know, some kind of something you farm. I don't know quite what, whether it's cows or what. You know, we're just traipsing along, me included, providing all the money for everyone else and none of the money for us. Get canny, make sure you get the good deals. Don't get caught up in paying someone for something they're not offering. If they're not offering you footfall, is really what I'm saying, you shouldn't be paying the rent. Not that much rent, anyway.
That's such a good... Tell me, Oh My Cakery are asking, have you changed anything to accommodate the new norm and that people are buying into experiences?
Well, we can't all provide that same experience we were providing before, not until we know about social distancing. I think that will fall away as well, because I just think, well, for all retailers, there's an awful pinch point coming. The government doesn't want people made redundant, but they want social distancing. Well, we can't squeeze them all in the shop, not the customers and the staff. So staff are going to have to go if they don't relax the social distancing. So this pinch point is for every retailer. So some point fairly soon, they're already going to drop it to a metre. They will have to come right the way down. And then business will be a little bit more normal, and you can offer experiences. But you can't offer experiences at the moment because people don't want to gather in a party. They don't want, you know, they don't want any of that stuff. Now that has its plus side, because those people who are gathering in a party were having, you know, they were going to Budapest for a hen do, and now they're not. So you've got that spare money for you. So, you know, so it's just making sure that it's, even if you can't give people a physical experience, you give them, I mean, it was so, I had an argument with someone the other day, and it was such a pleasure. I don't think either of us had spoken to anyone for bloody months. And just having a little bit of an argy-bargy was a pleasure, you know. There's a lovely meme going around, isn't there, that the first thing someone's going to do when we open our shops is to come on one of our shops and have 3 months of you know, conversation in 3 minutes.
And everyone's got to get prepared for that. Tell me,
we're ready.
Terry, magical story jars. Organic ingredients are expensive. When Lush was small and you were first starting out, how did you manage to make a profit whilst creating eco-friendly products without the economies of scale?
We eked our way there. I can remember being in a room when it was first suggested that we would use 100% recycled plastic, and we were bloody ages costing it, pricing it, worrying about it. We do it routinely now, but oh wow, wasn't it a big deal? You know, I mean, it was a huge deal, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to take it steady. You can just be honest with people and say, you know, look, this is organic, this isn't. We have an ingredients list, you know, with the green on where it's natural, and with black where it's a safe synthetic. I think that everybody's got a different angle. They're all looking for something different. You know, somebody might be very interested in the environment. Someone else might be interested in organic. I personally am a bird watcher, so I like organic because I don't want the pesticides for the birds. So I think that as long as you're transparent and you're honest and you stick to that, and you have a reputation for that. I always remember Marks and Spencer's. You know, I knew that their stuff was quality. I had a conversation with a baker who baked for Marks and Spencer's. And she explained to me that when I bought a cake from Tesco's, it was probably 10 days old, right? Because they seal them up, and they don't, you notice they don't put a baked date on, they put a use-by date on, right? But she said the only people that they baked and got it the next day were Marks and Spencer's. Now that sort of reputation by word of mouth is the key, yeah? How, you know, that, I know it takes a long time to build up, but then that is business. It takes. But
that is business, and that is, you know, a good life company. And if you are building something to be a founder of for many years to come, then that is what you can invest in.
If you have the standards and you build the standards up and you're honest and you're straightforward, I mean, that does go a long way.
That's what you've lived by. Just tell me, any message out there to the small business community? I mean, you've given so much thought there, Mark. That's really thought-provoking stuff. But anything else that you want to say to the small business community?
I want to send them my love and say, wherever you can, you know, don't just persevere, but prevail. Prevail.
Yeah. Determination. Absolutely.
I think so. I personally think that I'm a bit stupid sometimes, and I just go on and on and on and on, and I don't really get it. And then, you know, and so I think that perseverance is a much better quality than any other in business. Don't let other people ruin your dreams. This is the point. If you have a dream, I know this sounds corny, but I just think at the moment it's so important. If you have a dream, see that dream through. Do not allow it to be crushed. Be very, very careful who you listen to.
This community has loved hearing from you. Bless you. I know you're going through quite a bit. Just want to send you my love to you.
Thank you.
As ever, you're a joy. Huge thanks.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Wow, what a guy. Gosh, there's so many things there that I hadn't thought about. You know, I hadn't thought that we could be positive about the economic situation that we're going to find ourselves in. I hadn't thought about the fact that if other people are not doing bigger things in their lives, there could be more cash for small businesses. I hadn't thought about the fact that 1930s sort of trend of customer services is now, because of our experience, going to be held in such high regard. And as Mark just finished off there, he said, don't you dare let anyone crush your dreams. Be very careful who you listen to. And for Mark talking about environmental crisis, you know, what else could we do in the future that will call on all of us to do something? And it's quite heartwarming when we think about what we have gone through for 12 weeks in order to save our lives of our neighbours and people that we do not know. What would happen if rates came down, business rates came down, rents came down, business rates came down? Would you get back on the high street? Would you club together with your small businesses? Would you run online out the back, or 80% of the shop, because that's probably the proportion that's right within your business, but with a 20% experience of your brand at the front? People want the personal connection. This is this 1930s thing, the personal note, the brown paper bag, mixed with technology, and this can propel your business. The biggest thing that we're going to see is small. These are the businesses that will thrive. As ever, I bloody love doing this. Bloody love Mark. Love Lush as a business, and I know he's going through quite a lot at the moment, and so for me it's a huge thanks to him for spending the time with this community, answering all your questions, and just being a really terrific man. So thank you guys, thank you to NatWest, to Dell, to 3 and Royal Mail for letting me be here today to talk to Mark, to talk to you. All my love to you all.